everyone. Thank you for joining us in this week's Lotus Chat, episode 23. And hello, my name is Zien, and we've got.
And I'm Jen. It's good to be back, everyone.
Yes, and this week we're going to talk about a really exciting topic about listening, how to listen, listening to understand, how to hear, and how to be heard. So let's dive straight in. So, Jen, tell me, what is listening?
I'm glad that we are discussing this topic. And first and foremost, welcome to everyone here, especially all our new viewers and listeners. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us. And yes, this topic about listening to understand is one that one of our fellow Lotus ladies brought up in our last episode. And I think it's such a great topic, especially with the fact that I know that we're all having conversations at the dinner tables or within our work groups, in which sometimes, those questions about whether or not we're listening can come up. So whether it's somebody saying, are you listening to me? Or someone saying, look right here. Or, you're getting that question of, can you repeat to me what I just said, just so I can make sure that you are listening? I've had that happen multiple times in my lifetime. As a kid in school, I know all of us heard that from our teachers and definitely from our parents, and in relationships. So it's listening, I would say it's definitely a tool, a very effective tool in order for us to kind of get to a point where we can understand whether it's a person or a situation. The dictionary defines listening in two ways, where it's like the difference between active and passive listening. Active being the one where you actually like take a moment to pause, to reflect on what was being said, to look at somebody's body language to see if maybe there's something beyond what the person is saying, is coming across through their body language with you. And then of course, repeating or repeating on what that person said, asking questions like, can you define this for me? Can you clarify this for me? These are all steps within the scope of active listening. So you could see there's a sense of being present. Now, when we get to passive listening, that is also listening, but just listening to hear. And that is what we're here today to define for you. The fact that when you listen to hear and not listen to understand, you're basically just hearing me talk or hearing that person talk, and you're already thinking like one step ahead about what you're going to say in the next moment, instead of really listening to what that person is saying, or even trying to understand, like, maybe this person is feeling this certain way and is not saying that to me right now, so maybe I should take that into consideration. So again, those are two very different definitions within the listening spectrum. And Zian, how do you define listening?
I was busy listening just now. But yes, writing on and building upon what you just said, I think true listening and being really listening is when we are completely present in the moment with that person, which also means that sometimes we can be physically present with that someone, but in our mind, we're thinking about what am I having for lunch, we're not really present. Our mind is wandering elsewhere, but being able to focus both the mind, heart, and physical state of mind to be completely here right now with you, Jen, and with all the viewers right now, to be completely present is actually a gift that we're giving to someone. So to me, listening, coincidentally, I'd like to share a poster from this book that I co-wrote called Secrets of the Mental Warrior. I've got a poster about listening. He actually says this: listening is the highest respect that you can give to someone. And I wrote this because I find it so true that when you truly give your entire self, mind, heart, and soul to listen to someone, you are really giving them the gift of time and the gift of being truly present. So that to me is listening.
Yes, and I also want to clarify. I mean, when it comes to passive listening, well, I did describe it as like the act of just kind of, listening, but not really reacting. As some will say, passive listening is you don't react. At the same time, you also are allowing that person to speak. So
Mm,
some people might say, I'm passively listening to you because I want to allow you to explain yourself, allow you to express yourself, allow you to do X, Y, Z. Um, you take it to the next step when you do the active listening part, which is actually like at the end of that person's, expression.
mm,
You say, oh, well, I heard what you said, and thank you for telling me that. What can I do, or how can I help you, or how, XYZ.
mm.
That's when you actually go that extra step. I'm not saying either or is necessarily, good or bad, but they are all like, intertwined. And I'm, like I said, I'm glad we're talking about this today.
Mm-mm. I also think for like Jen and for the listeners who's listening out there, I think sometimes to be better listeners and to be active listeners, we can, like what you said, repeat back what the other person was saying. A simple line could be, "What I'm hearing you say is this, and that." And the fact that we could repeat those words sometimes helps us to understand truly, is that what they meant? Or in the context of respecting, you are truly understanding the context of the meaning that they're trying to say. I think that could really help in helping yourself to be a better listener. And at the same time, I think true listener, when you talk about passive, because you mentioned just now about there's no there's no right or wrong about active or passive listening, but I think the value in passive listening is when we truly listen, we are not thinking of the need to respond. We're not thinking, what am I going to say next? We're not thinking, oh, I've read from this book or I've heard from this YouTube and I'm going to share this knowledge with this person. But it's not. I think a lot of times when someone really wants us to listen, they really just want us to listen, nothing else. Like we don't need to react, respond, or say anything. We just go, okay. And again, touching back on the gift of time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what you said, Deanna, about the art of respect in
Mhm.
relation to listening. I think that is a beautiful way of looking at listening being such a way of showing someone that you care about them. Whether they just want you to listen, like you said, or they want you to help them figure something out. It ultimately comes down to what that person would like in that moment from you. So being present is so important because sometimes, my gosh, I've had conversations where sometimes you feel like something's missing. Where like,
Mm.
did I say that right? Like, do I feel like I might need to repeat that again? Or somebody will tell me like, maybe I should explain that to you because I don't think you got it, and which is fine. And I think we should all be open to those moments when people are saying like, you're not getting it,
Mm.
and be open to getting to a sense of understanding of what they're saying, even if you may not necessarily agree with what they're saying.
Yes, I
That's
love
also
that.
part of respect. That's also part of it.
Yes, yes. I love what you say just now. You may not exactly agree with what the other person say. That is so true because we all have different opinions, different perspective, and sometimes my opinion differs than yours. So I think what is very important is that we listen what is being said and what is not being said. So both has a lot of value and meaning in that communication. So really, make the time, for all the listeners out there, make the time to listen with your heart. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, just quickly, Zian, like, how do you feel we can listen to understand? Like, what are some tools that we can use as, people who are, amongst family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, to help us in understanding?
I love that question. The first thing that came through my mind is I think the ability to handle silence. I think a lot of times we are very into, myself included, we are very quick to jump to fill in the gaps of the silence. But actually, I think silence is a great way to allow the other person to process what they want to say. And all we need to do is just a little nudge, like, and, or are you complete? Or what else? Just a little nudge and encouragement, and they'll go pouring out further things that they have not shared in the first conversation. And so I think that's really works and really powerful for me. What about you?
Love that. Well, the first thing that came to mind immediately was when you are listening, be open. And the reason why I say that is that sometimes we go into conversations where we may come with preconceived notions, biases, different things like that. And I invite all of our listeners and viewers out there to, when you are having a conversation, just be open. You would be amazed how much you can learn from someone if you just, open your heart, as Zian said, and open your mind. There's actually a really great quote from the Dalai Lama that, because I love reading a lot of what he writes. And he says, when you talk, you are only repeating what you already know. But if you listen, you may learn something new.
Ooh, I love
And it's
that.
such a beautiful quote because it says so much with just, those few words, just like when you're in the moment with someone. Be ready to learn, even if it's something that you went into not knowing, or even if it's something where you're like, oh, I already have all the facts. Like, there's no way that this person's going to change my mind. I mean, be open to having your mind changed, or even, going above and beyond where you thought you could be in your knowledge and your wisdom. So that's my only tool that I welcome everybody to practice. So I love this topic, Zian. Thank you, and to Laura, our fellow Lotus lady, who brought this up in our last episode. And we are here every week. We want to be out there and just engage with each of you, whether through YouTube, whether through Spotify. We want to hear from you. So if you would like to hear something different, or you have a question that you are wanting us to discuss, please do reach out to us at lotuschatworldwide@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, and please comment, turn on that notification, share, and just pop us a question, even in the comments below, or send it to us via Spotify. And if you're listening on Spotify, we would invite you to click follow, because next week we have another great episode that we would love to share with you. And that one, we're going to talk about attracting what you want. Have all heard about the law of attraction. So next week we're going to really delve into that, and I'm pretty sure it's probably going to maybe go into another episode. But again, thank you for being a part of the episode with us today. And we love you all, and we'll see you next time.
See you. Oh, and the question we have for you this week is, who is the best listener in your life right now? So see you next week.